Hello, it's me. The question, is 3D printing useful? The answer, absolutely yes. Okay, we're in the 3D printing room, so sorry about all the sun there. It's nice to actually see a little bit of sunshine, and sorry about the noise. So if you look around here, you can see loads of reels of 3D printer filament just sort of like stored all over the place. And you can see a couple of 3D printers busily printing their hearts away. Why? Well, recently I seem to have set up an eBay shop and stuff's selling like hotcakes. So we've got these lovely Game & Watch covers and stands, and I'm printing those in batches at the moment. And then over here we've got battery adapters. So these give you the ability to be able to connect to various different drill batteries and then use them for different projects around the house, maybe lighting projects and that kind of stuff. And in here, what looks like a whole bunch of 3D printed tat, but actually this here is a slide-on or stick-on and slide-on holder for 2 Oral-B toothbrushes. Let's get out of this room and get away from those noisy printers. So that's the printing room. So here is some of my 3D printed stuff. These are toothbrush holder clamps. Very simple. They've got some nice 3M Gorilla Glue on the back of those little knobs that stick on your tiles. Here we have the Oral-B holder. And the really good thing about all of these designs is you can slide these off and then pop them in the sink, give them a good old wash off and stick them back on again. And here is a dubious razor holder. Over here we've got a soap dish, and you know how scummy and mucky soap dishes get. Well, this one, dead easy. Just slide it off, pop it under the tap, give it a rinse off, slide it back on, and away you go. You're gonna laugh now. This is a 3D printed bog flush. And here is a 3D printed night light. So when you walk into the bathroom at night, this moon here turns on, and it's actually solar charged as well. There's a solar panel behind it there. In my lounge I have Sonos systems, and those Sonos systems have got 3D printed brackets holding them up on the wall. Up here is a 3D printed guitar holder. And then we have 3D printed cases and surrounds for joysticks. On the arcade machine in the kitchen, 3D printed joystick button extenders. Little 3D printed brackets to hold an iPad on the wall so we can play music. It's unusual to show someone in your fridge, but amazingly, underneath at the back there, on both corners, are little 3D printed shelf supports because the old ones broke. And upstairs in the attic, 3D printed clamps for holding cameras. If you look here, all of my shelves are held up by 3D printed brackets. And can you believe it? They take all that weight and they haven't fallen down yet. Touch wood. And here's a lovely Casio keyboard. I managed to get it for $5 off of eBay. And guess what? Yep, that's a 3D printed battery cover. That's why it was cheap. And then here's a Game & Watch that had a broken battery cover. And guess what? I was able to 3D print. Yep, you guessed it. That's it. Another little battery cover for it. So I guess a few questions some of you might have is it easy to 3D print things? Is it easy to design things and model things and then actually create them in solid form on a 3D printer? Medium is the answer. I made a video earlier that may help answer some of those questions. I've been asked by the Wittering Trucker to take his logo design and turn it into a 3D printed object. He's going to get his wife to paint it. She might tell him where to go. You can get in your truck, mate, and keep on trucking, you old trucker. I've created it in Fusion 360. It's creating an STL file, which I'm then going to dump into Cura, and then we're going to print it on our wonderful 3D plastic printer machine. Right, so now we've got it into Cura. So a bit of luck, we'll be able to spin that around. Oh, there we go, have a look at it. Drop it down on the deck. Happy days. And now we should be able to just have a look around that, make sure there's nothing scary going on. Nope, it's all looking good. Right, and now we can tell it to go ahead and slice it up and print it. So once you've sliced it up, you can then sort of get a feel for how this is going to end up printing up on your bed. And there it is. This is the printer that we're going to be using. And at the minute, it's got black filament on it. Of course, the Wittering Trucker wants white. So we have to change the filament first. So on this tiny little SD card here, we load that into the front of the printer. Switch the printer on, and then we can tell it to go ahead and start printing. And this printing process will take about 4 or 5 hours. And there we have it. A Wittering Trucker trucking logo. Now all we have to do is get underneath it. Oh, there we go. Peel it off the build bed. Get in there. It's in there. Wittering Trucker. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with this. Cheers, mate. After 2 years of owning a 3D printer, I can happily tell you that I now get some very good quality prints and some fantastic solutions out of my 3D printer. Took me a little while to iron out all of the bugs and go through the learning experience. And this is what I wanted to share with you guys today. There are many designs that have already been made and put together by people, and they're available on sites like Thingiverse. If you're an engineer like myself, you're going to want to design your own solutions to problems. And that's ultimately why I bought a 3D printer. It wasn't just to print things like this lovely little moon lamp here and perhaps this little Star Trek phaser. Set phasers to stun. No, I wanted to design and make my own mad things. Like this little light here, which my wife uses brackets for some shelves. A 3D printed laptop. And these Bakelite lids for some very old jars are quite fragile. When you drop them, they have a tendency to shatter. This one's held together with sellotape. I was able to design and 3D print a lid for our coffee jar. And if you drop this one, it bounces. Plus, if it were to break, I could just print another one. I've also been coming up with some interesting designs. This is a guitar holder. So you drop the neck of the guitar into this device, and this device is bolted to the wall. In order to design things like this, clearly you need to learn a little bit of CAD software. I started with FreeCAD. And I found that FreeCAD actually was quite hard to drive, very manual, and lots of menus and little quirks. Then I moved on to Fusion 360, And I found Fusion 360 was a little bit more intuitive. I was able to put designs together quite quickly and easily using Fusion 360. And then more recently, I found this software, and this software is called a Shaper 3D. And as you can see, I'm actually starting to put together my own little turbine engine in here. So this is going to be good fun. Top tips for 3D printing. Read your printer's instructions. There are lots of parts to your 3D printer, and it might require a little bit of self-assembly work, normally fitting the build bed and aligning the build bed and that kind of stuff. Again, it's really not hard to do, but genuinely suggest reading your instruction manual. Learn with plastic PLA filament first, and then perhaps move on to ABS at some point in the future if you decide you really need to. Personally, I've just stuck with PLA. I find that it's more than adequate for the jobs that I need it to do. The only thing I will say about PLA is if you leave it outside in the hot sunshine, or if it gets hot in a car, it has a tendency to warp a little bit, so it might change shape ever so slightly. You don't need to worry too much about print settings like speeds and feeds and things like that, because Cura print software actually sets a lot of that up for you, assuming your printer is on the Cura list. So as a recommendation, perhaps download the Cura software and check that the printer you're thinking of buying exists on that list. Now, a lot of people are saying, level your build bed. Is this hard or is it easy? Actually, once you've done it 2 or 3 times, it just becomes second nature. So normally there are a few little wheels underneath the print bed. You can adjust those little wheels, and what it does is it makes sure that that first layer of print goes down flat and even across the bed. That means that your print will adhere well to the bed. Get a printer with a heated build bed to ensure good part adhesion. My suggestion is to put down a piece of glass on that build bed. Borosilicate glass will make sure that everything is super flat, because sometimes the aluminium build beds that come out with these printers do have a little bit of undulation in them. And then on top of that flat glass build plate, I recommend putting a flexible plastic micro adhesive surface. That effectively acts like a sticky bed, but you don't have to put any glue on it. So you're not spraying it with hairspray and then cleaning it again later down the line and all of that kind of good stuff. These new build plates are absolutely fabulous. They just have a textured surface, and what happens is the PLA, when it goes down on the build bed, it sort of sticks to that textured surface. And then when you're finished, you can literally just peel your parts off of that textured surface. Key thing, don't be scared. None of this is going to cost you a fortune. Maybe £200, £300, £400 for a printer. A filament will cost you between sort of £15 and £25 for about a kilo, which will make, I don't know, probably 10 or more of these large guitar holders. This is going to be a fun experience, so enjoy the experience. That's the key takeaway from all of this. It's engineering, it's good fun. It's going to help you with a load of projects that you might have at home. So recently I actually 3D printed a toilet flush because we're in lockdown and we were self-isolating. On top of that, it will give you the ability to be able to put together fantastic projects. It's certainly helped me with a lot of my projects, including this coffee table arcade machine, which has a 3D printed double USB port on the front of it, so you can plug your joysticks in. So I hope this has been a little bit useful. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you again. Bye for now.